Have you ever met someone and felt an instant dislike even though they haven't done anything to you? It's a strange feeling, isn't it? One moment, everything seems fine, but then something about a person triggers a negative reaction. You might wonder why this happens, especially when there's no obvious reason for it. Could it be something in their energy, or is it something deeper? Perhaps a sign from within? What if the people we are drawn to or repelled from are not just random encounters? Maybe there's more to these feelings than we realize. Sometimes we might be sensing something we cannot see, like hidden emotions, past experiences, or even spiritual connections. It's easy to brush off these feelings, but maybe we should pay closer attention. In today's video, we're going to look at why these strange feelings of dislike occur and what they could mean. Could there be hidden spiritual or emotional signals at play? Stay with me to find out what this could be telling you about your own life and the people you meet. Before we continue, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on more insightful content like this. Let's find out what's really going on when we feel that instant dislike. Envy and jealousy can be powerful emotions that sometimes lead to unexpected feelings toward others. It often starts with admiration, seeing someone succeed or do well in life. But sometimes, instead of feeling happy for them, that admiration can turn into something negative, like contempt. You might find yourself feeling frustrated or bitter about their achievements, even though they haven't done anything to harm you. It's a strange feeling, but it's something that can happen when we don't fully understand the emotions at play. Why does this happen? Sometimes, when people see others doing well, they might start comparing their own life to theirs. They might feel that the other person's success is a reminder of their own shortcomings. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that someone else's success makes you look bad or highlights what you haven't accomplished. In reality, though, that comparison is often unfair to both yourself and the person you're envious of. Every person's journey is different, and what works for one person might not work for another. When we start to feel envy or jealousy, it's often because we're measuring ourselves by someone else's standards instead of our own. The Roman emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This idea speaks to how we view others and how those views can affect our own well-being. If we let feelings of envy or jealousy take over, they can cloud our judgment and make us focus on what we don't have instead of appreciating what we do have. Marcus Aurelius encouraged us to remember that what others do has nothing to do with our own worth or success. Everyone is on their own path, and what others achieve should not be seen as a reflection of your own shortcomings. Sometimes, the hostility or negativity we feel toward others might not even be about them at all. It might be a result of our own insecurities, fears, or desires for something we don't have. The truth is, jealousy and envy often come from within, not from anything that the other person has done. It's important to remember not to internalize someone else's success or hostility. When others react negatively or show jealousy, it's usually because of their own struggles, not anything you've done. Don't take it personally. It's also helpful to recognize that we can all have moments of envy or jealousy. These emotions are normal, but how we respond to them matters. Instead of letting them grow into feelings of hatred or resentment, it's more beneficial to reflect on what we can learn from others. Instead of envying their success, we can admire it and use it as motivation for our own growth. Jealousy can serve as a reminder that there are things we still want to achieve, but it shouldn't take over our emotions or cause us to become hostile toward others. Recognizing these feelings and choosing not to act on them can help us maintain a positive mindset and build better relationships with the people around us. When you feel these emotions rise, try to stop and reflect. Is it the person that's bothering you, or is it something about yourself that you're projecting onto them? By understanding where these feelings come from, we can start to work through them in a healthier way. Everyone has their own struggles and triumphs, and sometimes the best thing we can do is support others, not tear them down. Misunderstandings can often start as something small, but they have the potential to grow into much bigger problems if not addressed. A minor comment or a simple action that's not fully understood can quickly become the seed of resentment. When we feel misunderstood, it can trigger feelings of frustration and anger, even if the other person had no intention of causing harm. These small issues build up over time, leading to bigger misunderstandings and sometimes strained relationships. One of the main reasons this happens is because of miscommunication or misinterpretation. Words, gestures, or actions can easily be misread, especially when we're not fully open to understanding the other person's point of view. For example, a text message might come across as rude or short, but the sender may have simply been in a rush or didn't mean to sound harsh. Without taking the time to understand the context, we might jump to conclusions and take offense. The same goes for face-to-face conversations. Sometimes the tone of voice or body language can send the wrong message. If we don't pause to clarify things, those small misinterpretations can easily snowball into bigger issues. To prevent these problems, it's important to practice active listening. Active listening means truly focusing on what the other person is saying, not just waiting for your turn to speak. When we listen carefully, we are better able to understand the full message behind the words, including the emotions and intentions behind them. Active listening also involves asking questions or giving feedback to show that we're paying attention and that we care about understanding. When people feel heard, they're less likely to feel frustrated or misunderstood, and misunderstandings are less likely to happen. Along with active listening, transparent and honest communication is key. Being clear and direct about our thoughts, feelings, and intentions helps avoid confusion and prevents unnecessary tension. If something is bothering you, it's better to express it calmly and openly rather than letting it simmer beneath the surface. Likewise, if you don't understand something, asking for clarification is much healthier than assuming or keeping quiet. Transparent communication fosters trust, and when people feel they can be open with each other, it creates stronger, more supportive relationships. In the end, misunderstandings are part of life, but they don't have to lead to long-lasting resentment. With a little more patience, understanding, and openness, many of these small issues can be cleared up before they turn into bigger problems. When we take the time to truly listen to others and communicate clearly, we can prevent misunderstandings from taking root and build better connections with the people around us. Differences in fundamental values and beliefs can often lead to conflict, even between people who otherwise get along. Every person has their own set of values shaped by their upbringing, culture, experiences, and personal beliefs. These values are deeply ingrained and can influence how we see the world, how we treat others, and how we make decisions. When someone's values clash with our own, it can create tension and even cause arguments. For example, two people might have very different views on topics like family, work, or morality. When these differences aren't addressed respectfully, they can grow into a much bigger problem. One reason these conflicts happen is because of defensive mindsets. When someone feels that their values or beliefs are being challenged, it's natural to become defensive. This defensive reaction can cause us to reject other viewpoints without fully considering them. Instead of seeking to understand where the other person is coming from, we may dig in our heels and insist on being right. This can make the situation worse because it creates a barrier between people, preventing open and honest discussion. Rather than finding common ground, both sides can become more entrenched in their positions. Epictetus, the ancient Stoic philosopher, taught that we should focus on what is within our control and let go of what isn't. According to Epictetus, our reactions and judgments are within our control, but the beliefs of others are not. He encouraged people to focus on maintaining their inner peace and not allow the differing beliefs of others to disturb them. Instead of reacting defensively or getting upset, we can choose to listen with understanding and respect, even if we don't agree. This mindset helps prevent conflicts from escalating and keeps us grounded in our own values without imposing them on others. Ultimately, the key to handling differences in values and beliefs is tolerance and respect. It's important to remember that everyone's experiences shape their views, and just because someone thinks differently doesn't mean they are wrong. By practicing respect and being open to learning from others, we can create a space for healthy discussions where both sides feel heard. Tolerance allows us to understand that different beliefs don't have to lead to conflict. Instead, they can offer an opportunity to learn, grow, and find common ground. Gossip is a powerful force that can spread quickly and have a lasting impact on relationships. It often begins as a small piece of information, sometimes true, sometimes not, that gets passed from person to person. What might start as a harmless conversation can quickly turn into something more damaging. As people add their own opinions or details, the story can become distorted, and the original message can be lost or changed entirely. This is how rumors spread, and why they can be so harmful. They can create misunderstandings, stir up unnecessary drama, and even cause people to mistrust each other. When gossip spreads, it can severely damage reputations and social connections. The person being talked about may not even be aware of the rumors, yet their image can be tarnished in the eyes of others. Once a false story takes root, it can be difficult to undo the damage, even if the truth eventually comes out. People may start to distance themselves from the person at the center of the gossip, and friendships can be broken. The social circle can become fractured, and trust can be lost. Whether the gossip is about someone's personal life, work performance, or character, it has the potential to harm relationships in ways that may be hard to repair. Maintaining integrity is key when dealing with gossip. It's important to remember that gossip often comes from a place of insecurity or the desire to feel better about oneself. Instead of engaging in gossip, we should focus on building trust with others by being honest and reliable. Our words and actions should reflect who we are, not what others might say about us. When we stay true to our values and maintain integrity, we set a positive example for others and discourage the spread of false narratives. One of the best ways to combat false narratives is to address them directly. If you hear gossip about someone, it's important to speak up and challenge the information. Let people know that you don't want to be part of spreading rumors and that you prefer to focus on facts. If you're the one who's the subject of gossip, calmly address the situation by setting the record straight, without getting defensive or aggressive. Encourage open and honest communication with the people involved and remind them of the importance of truth and respect in maintaining healthy relationships. Another way to combat gossip is to simply not participate in it. When you're in a conversation and hear someone start spreading rumors, change the subject or excuse yourself from the conversation. It's important to create a culture of respect where people are encouraged to communicate honestly and directly, rather than relying on gossip to connect with others. By not participating in or spreading rumors, we help protect our relationships and the integrity of our social circles. Personal insecurities are something that everyone experiences at some point in life, but when they go unchecked, they can influence how we see others and even how we treat them. Sometimes, People project their own insecurities onto others. This means they attribute their own feelings, fears, or shortcomings to someone else, often unfairly. For example, if someone feels inadequate about their abilities, they might criticize others for their success or try to bring them down. This projection is a defense mechanism, a way to protect themselves from facing their own fears or flaws. The Roman philosopher Seneca spoke about the importance of examining our emotions and understanding where they come from. He believed that by focusing on our inner strength and not being ruled by our feelings, we could maintain peace and clarity. Seneca taught that we should not let our insecurities control us or project them onto others. Instead, we should work on recognizing our weaknesses, accepting them, and striving to grow beyond them. By doing so, we can prevent ourselves from damaging relationships or feeling overly defensive. Psychological defense mechanisms like projection are natural, but when we allow them to take over, they can lead to misunderstandings and conflict. These mechanisms are ways the mind copes with uncomfortable emotions. Projection, for example, allows a person to avoid dealing with their own feelings by putting them onto someone else. Other common defense mechanisms include denial, where someone refuses to accept reality, or rationalization, where they justify harmful behavior. While these defense mechanisms might provide temporary relief, they ultimately keep people stuck in unhealthy patterns. To avoid falling into the trap of projection, it's important to maintain perspective. When we feel insecure or threatened, it's easy to misinterpret others' actions or words. Taking a step back and reflecting on the situation can help us see things more clearly. It's also helpful to remember that everyone has their own struggles and that other people's actions often have little to do with us personally. By practicing self-awareness and focusing on growth, we can stop ourselves from projecting our own insecurities and instead approach others with understanding and compassion. Seneca's philosophy encourages us to take responsibility for our emotions and reactions, which is key to breaking free from unhealthy defense mechanisms like projection. By doing this, we can not only protect our own mental health, but also build stronger, more genuine relationships with others. Maintaining perspective and understanding that our insecurities are part of being human can help us grow and keep our interactions with others more balanced and respectful. When we fail to see others' perspectives, we miss out on understanding the full picture of a situation. This lack of empathy can create tension and conflict in relationships. Everyone has their own unique experiences and feelings, and if we don't try to understand where someone else is coming from, we might misjudge their actions or words. For example, someone might seem upset for no clear reason, but without considering their background or struggles, we might think they're overreacting or difficult. Failing to empathize leaves us disconnected from others, making it harder to form meaningful relationships and handle disagreements calmly. Self-centeredness is one reason why empathy can be lacking. When we're too focused on our own needs, desires, or struggles, it becomes difficult to recognize what others are going through. We may become so wrapped up in our own world that we forget others have their own challenges and emotions. This narrow focus leads to a lack of understanding, as we're more concerned with how things affect us than with how they affect others. A self-centered attitude can make it difficult to listen, and as a result, we might dismiss or ignore the feelings of the people around us. Rigid outlooks also play a role in creating misunderstandings. When we hold tight to our own beliefs or ways of doing things, we often fail to see alternative perspectives. A rigid mindset makes us less open to new ideas or different ways of thinking, which can lead to miscommunication. If we assume that our way is the only way, we may struggle to understand others who think or act differently. This can cause us to label others as wrong or difficult, rather than considering that their approach might be valid for them. This kind of thinking limits growth, both personally and relationally. Building bridges of understanding requires making a conscious effort to listen and empathize with others. It means stepping out of our own world and trying to understand what the other person is experiencing. When we approach situations with an open mind and heart, we are better able to connect with others and create stronger, more supportive relationships. It's about choosing to see beyond our own perspective and acknowledging that everyone has their own unique story. By doing this, we can foster mutual respect, trust, and compassion, allowing for better communication and less conflict. Competition can be a driving force for success and growth, but when it becomes unhealthy, it can quickly turn toxic. Healthy competition pushes people to perform better, encouraging self-improvement and innovation. It inspires individuals to do their best and achieve their goals. However, when competition shifts from striving to improve oneself to wanting to outdo others at any cost, it can lead to negative feelings like jealousy, resentment, and bitterness. This kind of rivalry is no longer about personal growth. It's about putting others down to elevate oneself. As a result, people may become more focused on beating others than on their own development, which can harm relationships and well-being. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, understood the importance of maintaining a clear perspective in the face of competition. He believed that we should focus on our own actions and character rather than comparing ourselves to others. In his writings, he often emphasized the idea of living according to our values and not letting external circumstances, like other people's success, disturb our inner peace. By staying true to our own path, Marcus Aurelius taught that we can find contentment and avoid the trap of unhealthy rivalry. If we constantly compare ourselves to others, we will always feel either superior or inferior, and this will only lead to frustration and dissatisfaction. The feeling of being overshadowed by someone else's success can have a significant impact on self-esteem and motivation. When we see others doing better than we are, it's natural to feel left behind or unimportant. This feeling can lead to a sense of inadequacy and may push us to act in ways that aren't aligned with our true selves. Instead of finding joy in our own accomplishments, we may start to feel as though we are not enough. This negative mindset often stems from an unhealthy desire to be the best, to outshine everyone else, rather than celebrating the progress we make in our own lives. The key to moving beyond toxic competition is to focus on collaboration rather than rivalry. Collaboration encourages us to work together, share knowledge, and build each other up. It shifts the focus from comparing ourselves to others to learning from them and supporting one another. When we collaborate, we create a positive environment where everyone can thrive, rather than one where success is limited to only a few. Instead of seeing others as competitors, we begin to see them as allies, and together we can achieve more. By embracing collaboration, we foster a sense of community and mutual respect, where everyone's success is celebrated and no one feels overshadowed. Social expectations can have a powerful influence on how we live our lives, often pushing us to conform to certain standards or behaviors. When we don't meet these expectations, it can feel like we're stepping out of line, which may lead to judgment or criticism from others. People might look down on us or question our choices simply because they don't align with what society deems normal or acceptable. For example, society often sets expectations about career paths, relationships, and even lifestyle choices. If we don't follow these paths, we may feel alienated or pressured to change who we are just to fit in. The pressure to conform to societal standards can cause us to question our worth or feel less than those who seem to have it all together. This can be particularly tough in a world where social media constantly highlights the success or happiness of others. It's easy to feel that we don't measure up, especially if we're not following the same trajectory. This judgment from society often leads people to make choices based on fear of rejection or disapproval, rather than on their own true desires. The fear of being judged can lead to a life of self-doubt and insecurity as we try to live up to others' expectations rather than our own. However, it's essential to recognize the importance of authenticity. Being true to oneself means embracing who we are, even if it doesn't match what society expects. When we live authentically, we let go of the need to please others and focus on what makes us happy and fulfilled. Authenticity creates a sense of inner peace because we stop trying to wear a mask and start living in alignment with our values. It's about accepting ourselves as we are and not changing to meet the approval of others. Though it may feel challenging at times, living authentically gives us the freedom to express our true selves without fear of judgment. Encouraging authenticity is crucial for living a fulfilled life. It's important to remember that no one else has the right to dictate who we should be. Our uniqueness is our strength, and embracing that individuality allows us to lead a life that is meaningful and true to who we are. By focusing on our own path and not worrying about societal pressure, we free ourselves from the need to conform. This doesn't mean rejecting all societal norms, but rather choosing what aligns with our personal beliefs and values. Living true to oneself is a form of courage and self-love, and it opens the door to a more authentic and fulfilling existence. Feeling undervalued or unrecognized can have a significant impact on our emotions and relationships. When we put in effort or contribute to something, whether at work, in relationships, or in other areas of life, we naturally hope for acknowledgement or recognition. Without it, we may begin to feel invisible or unimportant, which can lead to resentment. This feeling of being overlooked can build up over time, affecting our sense of self-worth and our motivation to continue. It's human nature to want validation, and when that need isn't met, it can create frustration, dissatisfaction, and a sense of disconnection from others. The ancient philosopher Epicurus emphasized the importance of simple pleasures and living a life that is true to oneself. He believed that happiness came not from material wealth or external validation, but from internal peace and self-contentment. However, even Epicurus acknowledged that recognition and positive feedback from others play a role in our emotional well-being. In his view, being seen and appreciated for our efforts helps foster connections and feelings of belonging. Without this validation, we can feel isolated or unappreciated, leading to negative emotions like resentment or disappointment. When people feel undervalued, it's important to communicate how they feel. Often, others may not realize the impact of their actions or words. If we don't speak up about our need for recognition, it can be easy for misunderstandings to occur. Clear and open communication allows us to express our feelings without letting resentment build up. It's essential to articulate when we feel overlooked and to have honest conversations about our needs. This can lead to better understanding and, hopefully, more recognition in the future. Communication helps ensure that both parties are aware of each other's needs, fostering a healthier and more respectful relationship. Proper validation is more than just praise or compliments. It's about acknowledging the effort, time, and commitment someone puts into a task or relationship. It's the recognition of their value and contributions. When we validate others, we not only make them feel seen and appreciated, but we also strengthen the connection between us. Feeling valued builds confidence and encourages continued effort. It's important to provide genuine recognition, whether it's in the form of a simple thank you or more in-depth acknowledgement of someone's achievements. In this way, proper validation can lead to greater satisfaction, motivation, and harmony in relationships. We've discussed the impact of feeling undervalued, the importance of communication, and the need for proper validation. We explored how being overlooked can lead to resentment and the role recognition plays in fostering connection and motivation. By embracing open dialogue and offering genuine acknowledgement, we can create stronger, healthier relationships and a more fulfilling life. Remember, you are valuable, and your efforts deserve recognition. Don't hesitate to communicate when you need validation, and always strive to acknowledge the worth of others. If this message resonated with you, leave a comment below with the word peacefulness to share your thoughts or experiences. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on more insightful videos. For further inspiration, check out our other videos on how to improve relationships, communication, and self-worth.